The third pillar of Tesla's execution pathway is the machine that builds the machine. I think this is the most exciting and probably the most under-researched area of Tesla, and we will spend a considerable amount of time going forward thinking about this. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's July 28th, 2020. This is Krim Delco. Since the last update on July 24th, the fund is up roughly 7%, while the market is flat for the year. Now our performance is 120%, and the market is down 0.5%. So our outperformance is roughly 121%. Let me just jump into it. I think the earnings call from last week has revealed a few things about Tesla that I think are going to drive the next couple of quarters and the potential outperformance of Tesla, or the risk the other way around. And that is the ability to hire the right personnel to execute on a growth strategy. What do I mean by that? I think Tesla has built an innovation stack that is very, very impressive. Innovation stack as defined as a company that starts with a problem, solves the problem, creates new problems, solves those problems, and creates this recursive, intellectual, technology-driven solution machine that over now more than a decade has created a dominant player in a completely new market, which is luxury electric cars. So the innovation stack is built. The innovation stack is built around battery technology, powertrain, charging technology, and artificial intelligence. Now we believe the time is ripe for Tesla to start innovating on building the machine that builds the machine, building factories, factories that are executing on plan, on budget, factories that are particularly also capital intensive. That's important, and factories that can be implemented, scaled up globally, so they cannot be locally dependent. For example, you can't have a factory in northern Sweden just because the electricity there is free, or somewhere else because you get free access to nickel or something like that. That makes no sense, and companies that do that are typically not very good investments. I think companies that can scale up production, can scale up execution and delivery of product and services are the kinds of companies that get the $1 trillion mark. And I think Tesla has the potential to be one of those. It is definitely, unlike Microsoft or Google, not just a pure software play. So we have to start thinking about physical hardware, about physical execution, about actually building things that make that building things that can be built at scale and that also work. That this is very important. We don't have enough, we don't have the ability and the luxury to do beta and version 1 and version 2. These things have to work. So on the conference call last Wednesday, Tesla spoke about the need to hire people, need to hire manufacturing engineers, need to hire people that can design manufacturing concepts that are scalable, effective, efficient, that fit the culture of Tesla. Those are big tasks, and you can see according just if you read emails or tweets by Tesla managers, the way they hire is they hire by, they hire problems driven. So they hire according to, listen, we have a problem, can you help us? And this is a typical innovation stack type company that has to build according to problems, and that's fine. But it is coming to a point where the hiring has to be not just, hey, we have to solve this problem, but also we have to solve this problem at scale globally in different locations. Can you help us with that? So Berlin is going to be different than Nevada. Nevada is different than Shanghai. I think Tesla has shown extreme execution in Shanghai. And it remains to be seen how much of that is Tesla's doing and how much of that is the Chinese ability to adapt and be fast and execute fast. In other words, we will see how probably even before Berlin, we might see some results in Texas, and then definitely Berlin. Those are now test cases beyond China. And if you can scale up in Germany, if you can scale up in Texas, if you can scale up in Nevada, and if you can scale up in China, you start becoming a company that can build the machine that builds the machine. And this is, in our view, going to drive the value creation of Tesla in the next couple of years. The machine that builds the machine, because in order to have 40% CAGR, you have to deliver a lot more than just amazing products. You have to build a network of manufacturing facilities, supply chains. You have to integrate the supply chain. Like Elon Musk said, you cannot have an atom going 6 times around the globe until it ends up in a product. That is not scalable at a 40% CAGR profitably. This is why a lot of companies that have global supply chains are not very valuable, because they struggle, they make mistakes, they have a very high cost of fixing things. And you have that if you customize all the time. You have to find a way to scale without too much customization. For example, I have a friend who's in the software business, and he's struggling to create value with his software company. And you might think to yourself, well, what is the problem? Software always creates enormous amount of operating leverage. Well, it only does that if you can roll out software at scale without constantly customizing. For example, Tesla can do that. They can roll out software updates to the cars in over the air updates. They don't have to go to each car and hire an engineer and go and install stuff on your car. I mean, this would be unbelievably painful. Even if you had to go to the service center to upgrade your software, that would be very, very difficult to scale. But if I'm in the desert of Nevada and I'm downloading a software update, well, that's fine. That can happen, and that's perfectly fine. So this is the kind of scalability they've already achieved, and I think that warrants the market capitalization of 300 billion. But going forward, to get from 300 billion to 3 trillion, I think they need to start building the machine that builds the machine. Now, how do we think about that? I think this is the key to the investment. So if you're long Tesla, you have the three vectors we always talk about. You have battery and powertrain, you have AI, and you have machine that builds the machine. Now, battery and powertrain, we're going to have the battery powertrain day, and hopefully in September. So we'll learn more about that. But we're pretty bullish on that one. AI we had last year. I am a big believer in Carpati, computer vision, and the solution to artificial intelligence through self-driving cars. And I think Tesla has the best approach. So we have a lot of confidence in this approach. But the machine that builds the machine, we have some green shoots that Tesla is showing that they are able to really do it. But we also have some examples of other companies, namely Henry Ford and Ford. I mean, if you think about it, Ford was the guy who built the machine that builds the machine. The legacy of Henry Ford was not to invent the car, not to invent the internal combustion engine, not to invent any of that. What he invented is mass production. He made the car cheaper. And therefore, that is his legacy. And Ford did extremely well. It's still around. The company is doing all right for a century-old company. But clearly, there were lots of roadblocks, and we as investors have to be aware of that. Can Tesla deliver at that scale? How is that going to look? Maybe Bernstein is right when they say Tesla is too expensive. They're not necessarily naming the right reasons, but they're following the gut feeling of a human being, which says this kind of exponential growth is very, very difficult to achieve. So let me get out. I'm better off buying gold or something. It's kind of safer. And I agree with that. I mean, if you want to have a safe return, you buy government bonds. That's a very good return. You buy gold, you do these kinds of things. If you bet on disruption, particularly a la Tesla, where you're now hitting the vector of the machine builds the machine, you really have to dig deep. Now we're doing it because we feel that it just fits our mission so beautifully. It would be a crime not to follow this path. We are aware of the risk. We have, like always, a lot of our own skin in the game. So we're not just throwing darts hoping that something works out. There's a lot of skin in the game here, and we're gonna have to live with the ups and downs, like we are in the last couple of days. Actually, our volatility has increased dramatically. I don't think it has much to do with the thesis of Tesla becoming a 40% CAGR type disruptor of the energy, artificial intelligence, and manufacturing industries. The recent volatility has to do with many other things that are beyond our control. But back to the point, I think the machine that builds the machine is going to be the focus of the next couple of quarters. As Orange Capital Partners, we will focus on the hiring process of Tesla, on the ability to acquire talent. We will have to think more deeply about what kind of talent we would like to see work for Tesla, and then hopefully it matches with what management is thinking and telling us. Those will be the vectors that we're working along. We will spend a lot of time talking to academia and science to see what they think they can contribute to the mission of Tesla. For example, we are having regular calls now with scientists that are at the crossroad of science, technology, and business. So people that have either an interest or even a stake in something more than just academic work, but are academics. So we were trying to get the feel for from that side. Okay, what's possible? You know, if I talk to somebody at MIT, at Stanford, or similar universities, what can you even deliver in terms of talent to the Tesla mission? One of the concerns we have, for example, with the Tesla human stack, which is what we call human stack, basically the um, well, the analogy to the innovation stack is the human stack, which is the human part of delivering the mission, while the innovation stack is the technology which delivers the mission. So if we have a human stack, which, for example, is recruited from elite universities, we have the risk of elitism creeping up, which is very bad for a disruptive company. By definition, a disruptive company is not elitist. So if you only hire elitist type people, which maybe you are willing to do because it's easier, it's more comfortable to just go with the best names in the academic world instead of trying to think more deeply what kind of people you want. Those are the kinds of, I'm not saying Tesla is doing that, but those are the kinds of rubber meets the road type of tension points where we will have to have serious discussions with representatives of Tesla and stakeholders of Tesla and the broader stakeholders of Tesla to see what is possible and what is being done. If you just go in the top 10 universities in manufacturing and top 10 universities in material science, you might not have the right people. So those are the kinds of concerns, and that's the kind of work that we will be focusing on when thinking about the question of how to build the machine that builds the machine, because we think that third vector of Tesla, which is the value creation vector with the most convexity, which means the most upside in terms of surprise, in terms of delivery of numbers and value, those are the main points that we're going to focus on, and then hopefully we can match our thesis and our thinking with what's going on in reality. And to come back to the name of the podcast, we therefore earn the right to be right or wrong. And if we're wrong, that's fine. But as long as we're wrong for the right reasons, I think we're fine as fund managers and as human beings. Thank you.